Hi everyone, in this video I will provide a detailed explanation of invoke versus stream in LangGraph. Let's go to the definitions first. Invoke means it runs the graph fully and returns only the final output. And stream means it runs the graph step by step and yields intermediate results in real time. Let's try to understand this with example. So let's say we have a 5-step workflow in LangGraph. So when we run that workflow through invoke, it will only return the output when all 5 steps have completed and the final output is ready. Okay. But in case of stream, it will return the output after end of each step. So in stream, generally 5 steps will be generated. Like in different modes, although there are slight differences, but generally this is what happens. Whenever a step ends, then something will be yielded on the output in case of stream. Okay. And in stream, they have different modes. One is values. Values means that after end of every step, it will return the full state. Whatever value has been stored in the state, all values will be returned after end of each state. But in case of updates, whatever state changes have happened at that particular step, only those changes will be given in the output. In case of messages, it returns the output token by token. Okay, so let's say the sentence coming out from AI is AI messages, hi, I am an AI bot. So it will return output like this, hi, then I am, then an, then AI, then bot. So word by word it will return, and then we can just try to stream it token by token in the output so that the user feels that, okay, the output has started coming early, and then in the background also the output is still getting generated. So this gives a better streaming output, but it will give steps also, but then that part, handling that part becomes a little complicated. In case of tasks, it will not only give you output of each task or each node, but it will also tell when the node started and when it ended. So at the start of node also it will return some output, yield some output, and at the end of node also it will yield some output, and both of them will have some differences in the values that they have. Okay, so now let's go to a notebook and see how through an example how both invoke and various modes of stream work. So let's go to the notebook. So in this notebook, I have set up a sample workflow where I have defined 3 tools: multiply, add, and divide. Very simple tools. I have added them and created a LLM bit tool. Now, when I run it, I will show you how the flow looks like. So this is my agentic flow where there's an LLM call. This is LLM bit tool that I'm using. It is connected to a conditional router, which is like should continue type of tool condition type of router, which will tell that if there is a tool call coming out of this, then it will connect to the tool node. And if it is otherwise, it will go to the end. And tool node will execute that tool and it will always send the output back to the LLM call. So these are the multiple steps will be involved when I ask the question. So first step will be LLM will generate some output. If it is a tool call, then this node will be called. This is a second step. Then this will again go back to this. This is third step. And then the final output will be generated. So this always is going to be a multi-step process unless we ask a very simple question which does not need a tool call. So that will be a single step process only. Okay. So we will use an example which will always be a multi-step process. So let's try to ask a question which needs a tool through invoke, and let's see how the results look like. So if you see here, only the final output is returned when the complete flow is executed. Okay, so if I try to see how this final state looks like, I have set up a serialize method which converts all these type of classes into JSON objects so that we can print it properly. So this is the output, this is the input coming from the user of type human. And if I go at the end, this is the final output coming from the AI of type AI, type AI. Okay. So this is output coming from invoke. And if we want to just use a final output coming from the AI node, then we simply do this. We take the messages, we take the last one of those messages, and just we print the content of those messages. So this is the final output. Okay. Now let's go to stream and try to use all different modes of stream available. First is values. So values, as we saw, it returns the complete state after end of each step. So we will first try to just stream it with values and see how it looks like. So whenever we have a long line of 200 characters, that means that step is ended and the next step is started. Okay. So this is the first step. Here only the messages only contained human message, which is this. This is a second step where it contain human message also, and then the AI message, which is a tool call. So let me try to expand this. This is the second step. Now this is the third step where it contained human message also. It contained AI message also, tool call, and then a message coming from tool node is also appended. So every time, starting from the beginning, everything is showing at every step. Now this is the final step where first step was this first message, second message, third message, and then the final fourth message is also appended. So every time the complete state will be returned. In our like in different scenarios where we have a lot of other fields also in the state, so all the fields will be returned in the output when we use values. But when we use updates, only the output that we are sending out of that node, only that will be shown. Okay, so let me try to run this and show you how it looks like when we are using stream mode as updates. Yeah, only 3 steps, and in each step it will tell that which node was run and then whatever was returned from that node. Okay, only that will be returned. So I have tried to convert it into in the same way where I print it like this, and we will see that how it is very different from when we send values. Okay, here I had to do it differently because the output is always a dictionary where the key is the node name and then the messages are present in the value. Okay, so that's why I have to do it a little differently here, but I am doing pretty print only all the messages. So let me try to run this. Here you can see first step, only this is the output, the AI message, which was returned by the LLM node, which is a tool call. Then the second step, it was a tool node, which returned this output. Nothing else is showing. Okay, no human message, nothing. And this is the final step, which returned the final AI message, which is this. So it will only return the output that is returned by that node. Okay, nothing else. Next is messages. So here I told you that it will always return chunks of output. So let's try to run this and see how it looks like. So here the always a message will be type AI message chunk. It will give a tool message also, but it becomes a little complicated to handle that. So what it is generally used is to stream the output, the final output. So if you can see here, the result of so token by token, it is returning output. And I will show you in a UI chatbot also how all these actually look like on the UI. Okay. Last is the tasks. So the only difference between tasks and values is that it will tell us the start of that task also and the end of that task also. Yeah, here you can see. So LLM call node was called, and in this one, this step, the input was there. Input will be the complete state because every node accepts the complete state. Then next step will be same node, but the result will be there. So whatever output is generated, that will be shown. So basically it is a advanced version of updates where input will also be shown, like whatever state was going as input, that will also be shown. Okay, next is the tools. Here this is the input complete state and this is the result. Again LLM call, complete state is the input and then the final result. Okay, so these are all the 4 types of different modes. Now let's go to a UI where I will show you how all these outputs look like in the UI. Let me try to run the application. So this is a sample chatbot that I've developed. So in this also we will ask the same question again. So but I have tried a workaround where I will just provide the method like this before the question. I could not I could not set up a proper uh, drop down selection in this one. So I've just tried a workaround here that I will send the method here, whatever should be the invocation method. And then after that, it will be the question. So let me ask this using invoke first. So here you can see only the final output is returned. I will show you the code also how I'm processing it. So whenever in chainlet application, first I have just defined the same graph, LangGraph agent, which is same. Then I'm using the chainlet UI, okay, setting up the chainlet UI. The message will come. I will split this message using the square brackets. And whatever is inside the square brackets, that will be the mode. And whatever is remaining will be the user input. Okay, so if the mode is invoke, then simply we will use a dot invoke, and whatever result comes, we will just show dot messages -1 content, and we will send it to the UI. Okay, so that's why you don't see anything else. You simply see the final output. That too, complete output is in one go. There is no streaming happening. I will show you how streaming also works with messages. Okay, next is values. This is a streaming method. So I will ask the same question again using values. So here you can see it was a multi-step process where the first message was always available to us. Okay, so what I've done here is in the code I will show you. If it is a AI message and it contains content also, then that becomes a final answer. In all other cases, in all other steps, it will be shown as a step, chainlet step, where like in when we try to pretty print it, it becomes a little difficult to read in the UI. So that replacement I have done, but otherwise this is what we want. Okay, so no message means node output messages. Then if the messages contains an AI message and the content is also present, then that becomes a final answer. In all other steps, the input will be the first message and the output will be the last message. So if you can see here, in all cases, the human message is showing in all steps because that is the first message, which means always everything is available in the values case. Okay. And the final message is always the output of that step. And then this is the final answer. So this is values. Now I will try to do the same thing using updates. So here you can see I had access to the name of the node, but I only had access to what is the output of that node, not the input, not the complete state. Okay, so how I've done here is that we take the items because it is always a JSON. The key will be the node name, which I'm using here as an input, and the value will be the messages, and I'm taking only the last message from there. Okay, so basically I can take the first one also, but always there will be only one message coming out. Okay, so always in each step, it will only show the output. It does not have access to anything. But what it has access to is that what was the node name. Okay, and then the final answer is generated. So these steps are by default they are hidden, but we can see what happened in this step. Okay, this is updates. Then is the messages. So messages will be streaming. Okay. So if you could see here, the complete output was not shown in one go. It was token by token. But if you want to see it in a better way, let me try to introduce a sleep of 1 second, and I will show you how it works. Yeah, so let me try to copy the same thing. So now you will see I have introduced a sleep. So there will be a delay of 1 second after every chunk. Okay. But if I ask the same message using invoke, everything will be returned in one go. Okay, so this is the major difference between messages streaming and invoke. Invoke, everything will be returned in one go, and it will be returned only when it is fully generated. Here, as soon as it is the first token is generated, it will be returned. So this gives you a much better streaming output. Okay, so this is messages. Next, the final is the tasks. So in tasks, what happens is that we always have access to the input also. So from there, I have taken the first message, but we can take anything. In the input, the complete state will be available to us. And in the output, only the output that we want, that we are sending, basically. Okay. Here, what I've done is instead of taking the first message, I have taken the last message of the input. Okay. So in this case, in the first step, this was the input. In this case, this was the last message of the input, and this was appended. And in this case, this is the final answer. So we don't have any input. Okay. So I can show you here that in case of tasks, I'm always taking the last message. No, this is the final answer, but here you can see I'm always taking the last message from the input data. Okay. So if I try to do it 0, then always human message will be shown. So let me try to do that as well so that it becomes clear what we are doing here. So tasks. Okay. So here you can see this was the input. And here also this becomes the input because we are now using the first message as the input. But if we take the last one, which proves that the complete state is always available as an input. So technically, this is a much better way of using streaming because this gives access to the complete state also, and then it tells us the output also. If I go to the notebook here, it is telling me the name of the node also, which is important, which is not available in case of values. If we see values, okay, so in values, maybe I will have to just try to print the chunk and show you how it looks like. Print chunk. So this is how it looks like. It will not tell us what node was executed. So we have to just assume things here. But in case of tasks, it is telling us everything. What was the node that was used? First, the input for that node will be given. Here with the ID, we can just verify that this is the same node. Okay, the ID will be the same. And then this complete state is also available to us. And then in the next step, the output is also available to us so that we don't have to assume what was the output returned in the complete state. Okay, so then tools input is a complete state, name is also there, and then the output is also there that was returned. So in my opinion, tasks is the much better comprehensive way of doing it. If you don't want token by token streaming, then we can use tasks, and we can use the complete state also in each step. And then we also know what is the node name. Here you can see I was able to show here what was the node name also, which was I was not able to show using values, because in values it is not available. Okay, let me try to run this. In values, it was not available at all. So I could not show it here. But in case of tasks, I was able to show this also, and I was able to use the complete state also. So this is all about streaming versus invoking in LangGraph. So it is very useful, and it gives a user a much better picture of what is happening in your agent. You can show all the steps, what was the input, what was the output. They can verify it and take an informed decision, because it is very well known fact that AI can make mistakes. So these steps, showing these steps to the user in the output and telling them everything that has happened in the agent is very important. So in those cases, streaming becomes really helpful. Okay, so this is all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please let me know in the comment section what other videos you would like to see. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.